Clark. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call this regularly scheduled public hearing meeting of the Annapolis Historic Preservation Commission to order. Will the secretary call the roll, please? Present.
Present.
Roth. Golder.
Present.
Gannon.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Greeley has informed me that he is traveling, and I thought that it was not necessary for him to go out of the way to try to participate remote. So we'll proceed. Are there any announcements from the staff?
Well, the big announcement is that we have Elizabeth Beckley here tonight, and she is the new Assistant Chief of Preservation. And I'm very happy to have her help.
Well, we're happy to have you have her help too. And we're happy that she's here. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Very happy.
I would make one brief announcement. I think all the members of the commission and probably all the members of the public who are in attendance know that the commission and the city were sued by Historic Annapolis over some of our actions regarding the city dock. I attended the hearing approximately 3 weeks ago, and the judge was very expeditious in the hearing review. I thought that she had promised that she would have a decision by last Friday, but it hasn't been made yet. So, we'll proceed as we have. All right. See, we have a number of minutes. We've delayed doing this, so I hope you'll all understand that we need to take a few minutes for these procedural actions. Madam Secretary, what do we have?
April 8th and April 24th, 2020.
Has everybody reviewed those minutes? Are there any corrections or amendments to be made? Is there a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
Motion made.
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Aren't there a few more?
There are. May 13th is next.
Okay. Any corrections or amendments? We're going through this so rapidly because the staff is doing such an excellent support job. Is there a motion to approve as drafted?
Motion to approve.
Second? Oh, okay. Is there a second? Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. One more, isn't there? Not
Oh.
present.
Next would be June 10th and June 26th.
All right. Has everybody read those and ready to act? Any corrections or amendments? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion made second. Seconded. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
One more.
One more. Oh, geez.
For July 8th, 2025.
Oh, I remember it well. Has everybody read the minutes? Any corrections or amendments? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Tower, would you have any information about new violations and the status of active violations?
Well, we are developing a list, and it's wonderful to have additional help within the office because now we can tend to some of these, but nothing major.
Okay. So all just sort of normal process that will be expedited by the new staff?
Well, yes, and over time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Thank you. Well, let's move on to our order of business. We have 172 Green Street, which I think we worked on before our summer break. So would those who are representing 172 come forward, please?
Just me today. The owner's, it's her husband's birthday today, so I think
Ah,
they were
that's
going to
an-
come, but don't see him yet. So,
Okay.
but
Would
we
you
can make it
identify
brief.
yourself, please?
I'm George Roberts with Bohan Contracting, just representing 172 Green Street.
And would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear that all the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Thank you. All right. What do you have for us?
So I'll just run through the presentation real quick again, just for everyone's refresher.
Yeah.
And then I think the last we left it, you guys were kind of doing some additional research as to the history of the existing shed structure in the rear. So
Yeah, Mr. Tower. will cover.
Yep. So here's the front of the building. In essence, this project is pretty simple. We were looking to add basically 3 components to the building, all having to do with like this rear structure back here. So you see the 3 existing awnings and the 2 flower boxes underneath the windows on the right-hand picture of the existing building. We were looking to remove those 2 flower boxes, install an exterior countertop, and then extend those 3 awnings in depth as well as length to cover the door and actually act as a covered protecting when you're entering the building. So here you can see kind of like an aerial plan of the 2 locations that are being affected here. So this is the first rendering. On the left, you have the existing condition. On the right, you have the proposed canopy. All the specifications which we went through in the last hearing, I believe everything complied with HPC regulation on this one. And then this is the second awning. So this is in addition to the existing building, as you can see in the lower circled area right here. And then more specifications on the build. This is like a side elevation drawing. So up top is the existing. On the bottom, it shows the affected areas. Here are close-ups of both of those areas. So we have the new canopy that basically stretches in the rear, and then the new canopy over the side entrance door. That is like the main entrance for most of the guests going into the inn. So it'll be a nice addition to the building. So circling back to where we ended, this is kind of the beginning of John's staff report. This is a 1996 photograph that he was able to dig up. It kind of shows the existing shed structure shown by like the 2 windows back there. And then you can tell it's like very, decayed. So these are the 2007 photographs, which I believe John took when he was coming to one of these hearings, just presenting, basically replacing the structure in kind. And then here's the drawings that were submitted. So it kind of shows like the existing rear shed area versus the new rebuilt portion of the shed that John did. So after like reading the staff report, it's pretty clear that the 2008 newer construction rear shed is merely a reference to, rather than a precise recreation of a previously existing utility structure that did have historic character and interest. But since it is a newer construction shed in the rear, we feel like the minor modifications should be approvable for this building. So
That it?
that's what we got. Yep.
Thank you. Don?
So I think it's important, if you can, or if you did, look at the pictures on page 5. And I don't know if you can, George, I don't know if you have that there. Go back to the black and whites if you would. No, the 2 that are above one another. The photographs. If you can show them. There.
These.
Right. So this is when I first saw the structure. So if you look at these photographs, I think you can get some idea of the condition of this shed. Now, on the Sanborn maps, this is referred to as a shed. It's looking pretty sheddy in these pictures here. And I think it is noteworthy that sections of the lower wall are obviously missing, that this is literally flapping in the breeze. And as I said before, it is interesting. It was interesting. This thing was put together with, chewing gum wrappers and anything that could be found or salvaged and applied. It was earth fast, and that you don't see too often. And there's a reason. And the reason is because it's being earth fast as a conduit for termites. And I have a note in the package from Patricia Blick to me saying,
Yes.
John, I am looking for more termite damage at the site. And that's the condition it was in. The chief of historic preservation was looking for more termite damage, not what we thought was there, but there was actually more to see what could be saved. And when this went to HPC, it was recommended by the chief of historic preservation for demolition, and it was not considered a significant structure. Despite what is in the capsule summary, it would have been nice if the significance of this structure had been recorded by anyone who was there, other than just mentioned as being significant. I mean, they had cameras. Good time to take a picture, show something, show a feature that is really unusual. But it was a shed. It was rebuilt for utility purposes. It is a reference to something that was there before, something that changed over time, something that changed its form, because what you're seeing there is actually a smaller version of what was built, because it was built out to its original dimensions. So the fenestration's different. We would just guess at the fenestration, but you can see a 6/6 window there falling apart. I, for one, hate to lose anything that is significant and historical, but this was just really what was left of a curiosity.
Right. Well, your report was concise and fairly clear, as were your comments. So let me, just for clarification, ask you two things. Your business relationship with the property owner ended before you became an employee of the city, correct?
Yes, long before.
Yeah. And what we're looking at really is fairly said to be of no historic interest. It's all been chewed up, destroyed, transformed. Could you go that far?
Yes, I would say that. But does anyone remember bulk pickup in the city? This is just a little aside, but there used to be 2 nights out of the year when people could put out anything, and it was just endlessly fascinating, even if it was junk. And so that's kind of what we had here. Maybe in 1996, it was still holding together a little better, and that's probably when it might have been salvaged if it was going to be.
Yeah. So your recommendation is approval with no conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Do any commissioners have questions for the applicant or for Mr. Tower? This does seem to be a rather straightforward matter. So having heard the presentation, looked at the slides, considered the staff report, does anyone feel prepared to make a motion on this matter?
I think there's someone here
yes,
too.
Excuse me.
Or-
Thank you. There is a member of the public.
Yeah.
Thank you for being present and enduring our tedium.
Is it green, John? The green light?
Buddy? Oh, okay.
Right.
Sorry.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Let me try again. My name is John Richards, and I live at 120 Duke of Gloucester Street, and my garden directly abuts the property before you tonight. I submitted some additional written comments to you last Friday, which I hope you have had an opportunity to review. And as I said back in July, I am acutely aware of the challenges as well as the unique benefits that proper stewardship of landmark historic properties confer on the current owners of these pieces of our cultural heritage. And I applaud the fact that the owners of 172 Green Street have been taking steps to make needed repairs to their recently acquired property, which will benefit them and the entire community. I came to you in July to provide you with the Maryland Historic Trust documentation about the importance of 172 Green Street. And it's not just in this capsule summary. As I told you then, it took me 2 pages to extract all the quotations about the rear part of the L. And I hope you've maybe had a chance to review that. I gave pinpoint citations in my statement written on Friday. That documentation established that this property would qualify for an individual listing in the National Historic Register. Because of that, I do not believe that the staff report correctly reviewed this application under the lenient standard. Instead, a strict standard of review is required under the plain language of the ordinance. Since then, I have had the opportunity to review the 2007 approval documents that authorized the replacement of the shed portion of the L. And that has confirmed that the current proposal is inappropriate. The November 2007 approval was made as a matter on the consent docket because the owner promised to make a replacement in kind. The approved drawings did not include the pent roofs that have been subsequently added, apparently without HPC approval. The 2007 approval was therefore fully consistent with the Secretary of Interior Standard 6 as required by HPC Guideline D1. And I have no doubt that the reason that the 2007 application was unopposed was because it was a replacement in kind. And in addition to the language of Standard 6, I think it's useful to look to the interpretation in the ITS number 38, which I'll just read a portion of. When a historic building's distinguishing features are deteriorated beyond repair, they should be replaced with new ones that match the original features. Substituting new building elements or a different design than the historic elements, embellishing simple, unadorned facades with high-style details, or adding features borrowing from a different period should be avoided. So Standard 6 does not contemplate architectural alterations to create an outdoor bar in this traditionally residential neighborhood or this important anchor of the historic district. And the rear L can be clearly seen from the street and by all of the school children as they step off their bus to go to school. Given that the 2007 HPC approval was for replacement in kind, there is no reason for you to dwell on the prior state of dilapidation of that L that justified its replacement in kind, nor should you look to the current photos of unapproved alterations as the baseline. The baseline should be the approved drawings for the replacement in kind from 2007. Anything else would reward demolition by neglect and noncompliance. Applying the correct Standard 6 will provide whoever visits the property with the benefit of seeing it as it should be historically, and not as a kiosk appended to an important historic structure. So again, respectfully, I request the relatively new owners to reconsider their proposal and embrace the benefits of restoring the shed of the L to its earlier appearance as approved in 2007. And I request the Commission do the same. Thank you.
Thank you for the insights and information you provided, I neglected to do one thing. Would you raise your right hand, please? Swear the testimony you just presented is true to the best of your knowledge.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one or two quick questions. The state of what is presently there is neither of historic value or good condition, in my opinion.
Well, that's why you're on the board and I'm not, in my opinion. And I think the
I don't
Maryland
mean the
Historic
structure
Trust-
as a whole. I mean this little piece that we're talking about.
Well, you know, accessory structures to historic buildings are very important. Go to Mount Vernon, there are a lot of accessory structures. You go to Colonial Williamsburg, a lot of accessory structures. We probably don't have a whole lot of historic accessory structures left. We had to rebuild the Folly at Pecos House. You know,
Yeah.
the idea is, I think the idea behind the standards are, no, when the acorn at the top of the State Department deteriorates, it's not sort of open season on whatever you can put up afterwards. What you need to do is recreate what was allowed to deteriorate. And I think that's what the Secretary of the Interior Standard 6 is speaking to, and in this case requires and was required in 2007. And the fact that, you know, people have messed around with it on the side, I don't think is something that needs to be rewarded here.
Your argument is very clear, clearly stated, but there's not a historic outbuilding that's there. It's gone. And comparing this to the outbuildings at Mount Vernon is rather difficult for me to wrap my head around, being familiar with them.
Well, if we were to go back and look at the sketch of that,
Yeah, but that's not
approved-
there. But that's not there.
No, but it is. You were just shown it on the television screen there. The sketch of the approved drawing is clearly there for us to see, so we know what has previously
But
been
it's
approved.
not physically there. That's not what we're reviewing. We don't. And now I want to ask our attorney a question, if I may. We can't go back and correct another commission's decision, even if we disagree with it. May we do that? Yeah, yeah. We have to change. Yeah, we have this application, we have this shed in this dilapidated condition, and this applicant's request for change. That's all we have the authority to consider. Thank you.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes, I want to.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
No, I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Mr. Tower would like to add something first.
Well, I think I have to. So this is from the Chief of Historic Preservation. And this is the memorandum. These are her staff reports. Pretty simple stuff here. And this is for 172 Green Street. Demolish existing shed and reconstruct larger shed. Based upon a site visit, the existing shed is not significant. It has been constructed of miscellaneous pieces of discarded materials and does not possess qualities of distinctive craftsmanship. It is in poor condition. In accordance with HPC guideline D2, demolition will not have an adverse effect on the individual property or the historic district. The scale of the new shed is greatly subordinate to the main block of the house in accordance with HPC guideline B6, size and massing of addition. The new shed will match the depth of the first shed, but a section of the new shed is needed to measure the scale of the structure. The applicant proposes to use recycled window sash for the new shed. These will match the fenestration in the portion of the shed that is remaining, 6 light fixed wooden sash. The exterior siding will match existing shed, cedar shakes, and the roof will also match the existing shed and form standing seam metal roof. So that is what was approved. This was approved by the HPC.
Okay.
So she is saying it does not hold the significance that you were stating.
Yeah, I had hoped to have had an opportunity to review that. I wasn't unable to do that on Friday, but because it was unavailable. But I think the point is that the approved drawing, which was just shown to you at the beginning of this hearing, shows exactly what was approved, and what he just described is exactly the replacement in kind that was required by Standard 6. And if they'd been proposing something that wasn't a replacement in kind, then perhaps people would have been complaining about it back then.
Well, I thank you for the effort that you've made. It's much more serious and much more thoughtful than many of the presentations that we hear. So I very much appreciate that. I don't want to monopolize the conversation. So if there are any other commissioners, I believe Mr. Cummings had a question.
Yeah. First and foremost, to echo that point, thank you very much for bringing forth your technical argument, because obviously for us, we have to really work from a technical standpoint. They've commented a little bit on the technical component, but I also see, and with respect here, a couple of perspectives, if I may read between the lines. Is your real concern the architectural design that's being proposed, or the fact that it might be a bar for an accessory dwelling unit, just given that your backyard does abut this property?
Well, I am sure that all of my neighbors have a concern about there being a bar. That's not what I'm talking about with you all, because I don't understand that to be your purview.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I do believe that a bar is not an appropriate architectural feature for a house in the residential zone of the historic district. This was not a bar. This was never a bar. This was never anything like a
It's
bar,
not a bar.
and that's the problem.
It's not a bar.
Okay.
Well, I was just going to comment to that. Like, what they use it for and what the design, is a couple of things. If pertaining to a bar for an ADU, my understanding is that would go through a different approval process, and I don't think that they can have a bar, but a feature in the backyard, with a windowsill. I don't know if we can necessarily, make a decision based on
cannot.
that.
We can.
We cannot.
can't.
That is not
Yeah.
factual evidence that
It's
we
not-
could assess
But I guess
and act upon.
if it were to go back to the original design that you're mentioning, but was still used where people opened up windows and shared drinks through them, would that be okay for you? Or
Mr. Cummings, I'd like to interrupt.
Yeah,
This
we
simply
can't.
isn't a matter for us to debate or review, as we have no authority over it, and the speaker hasn't presented any evidence that it will even happen. And now I'm going to throw in, for my 2 cents worth, knowing something about colonial history and colonial architecture, lots of people where they had foot traffic would open a window and serve alcoholic beverages.
Mhm.
Middleton's Tavern being an
Yes,
excellent example. So I don't even accept your argument that this is somehow something that couldn't possibly happen. Couldn't have. So anyway, but we shouldn't talk about a bar.
Yeah, we can't.
And on the Sanborn map, it does change form over time. So I don't know if materials from the original shed were reused in the rebuilding, because if you look at what is on the Sanborn map in the staff report, I think it actually I can't see it now, but maybe it was in the original. I took it out. The shed goes over the property line rather substantially.
Well, I mean,
Okay. No.
Yeah, right.
No.
Well, it's not. It wasn't built in the same sort of manner that the rest of the house is, which has fine work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That part.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions of the speaker? All right, thank you. I
Thank you.
truly do appreciate the information that you've shared with us. Is there any other member of the public that wishes to speak for or against this application? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing at this time. Is there any further discussion among the commissioners?
No.
Is there a motion to be made on the matter?
I move to approve the application for 7172 Green Street in accordance with the staff report.
Okay, and that means there's no conditions, right? You put no conditions.
I placed no conditions.
Yes, I want to just make sure that the record is clear on that. Is there a second to that motion? Second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys, as always.
All right. 260 King George Street. I do see Mr. Averill.
Mm-hmm. Here, let me grab that.
See a number of familiar faces, but for the record, would you each introduce yourself?
Good evening. My name is Cody Monroe. I'm one of the applicants.
I'm Terry Averill, the architect for the project.
Clinton Ramsden, co-applicant.
Thank you, gentlemen. Who's presenting?
I suspect most of you have gotten a chance to look at the presentation, partly because you approved some pieces of something in an earlier application. So I'll concentrate on a few things that were added since that time. One being the accoutrements that are out there through site design review, where the parking used to be. So you can see some of those things on the site. There is a very low sloped walk that's on the front of the building that has some plants nearby it, and a new entry stoop for the thing. But that was in the earlier permit also. There is a side window that's a kind of a service window on, if you look from the front on the left side, if everybody's familiar with the plan. And then there had been on the rear of the building, and an attached or actually a separate freezer / storage building. And then we made an impermanent kind of addition to the back that you can see on
Do you
that
have
plan.
an illustration for that?
I don't have any presentation
okay.
materials from
Okay.
the
Okay.
video. I assumed everybody probably had them, so
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
always
realize
helps, though,
we
when you have
actually
them on
had
the-
this. It's been a while since I.
It helps to have them before
Yeah.
us, even if we have.
It would have been
them.
easier with a Zoom. The last time I was doing this, it was a Zoom, so it was easy.
Yeah, but that's okay because we have reviewed here.
Great.
So go ahead.
And so that's relatively minor changes to the building. I think everybody, other than that, there were no comments from the staff afterwards. So nothing historic has really been removed or modified on the building.
The staff report was concise. You want to just review it for the record here?
Sure. So we have, as a commission, already approved 75% of this application. And that includes the ADA ramp, the roof, which was done extremely well, cornice, window restoration, removal of the bars, the walk-in refrigerator, but the walk-in refrigerator has been moved to actually a better location behind 260 and next to 28 College Avenue. And I really kind of feel for the owner of 28 College Avenue because, it's going to be right next to his house.
Had a deck.
Just kidding, sorry. but and also approved administratively is a fence, but the fence does come into view in the elevations here, but that was approved administratively prior to this meeting. So one of the things that occurred during this review was there were some comments from reviewers that I think were very strict and possibly not fully, let's say, useful. And so the applicant and the Annapolis Capital Partners, Clinton Cody, came in and it was discussed, and we went over the different comments. And so there was a round of additional comments, basically. And I thought that was worthwhile because on the strength of some of the comments, it wouldn't have been worthy of delaying this review. This project has been in the works for 3 or 4 years, is it? A long time. The form of the gas station has not changed. This respects that. The site and its use are what have really changed. And the idea that it's going to be a grab and go coffee shop or whatever its use is, it's certainly going to improve it from its current use. So I didn't have objections according to guidelines on this. Not only that, I did get inquiries from and have discussions with the public. There was one public comment. Two public comments, both from neighbors. And one was concerned with the lack of parking, which I think is the neighborhood concern, but not a concern of this commission, because the zoning approval allows for the asphalt area to be used without parking. So who knows? Maybe that'll change, maybe not. But I honestly believe that it's time to move this one forward as well as we can. If anyone wants to challenge the parking, that's a zoning matter. It's not a historic preservation matter.
Yeah, very good. Because we might have some questions, and I overlooked it once again. The partners? Are you going to speak at all? Do you intend to speak?
We were not going to elaborate on the application beyond just fielding questions from the commission.
Mr. Averill, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear that the testimony you presented, any other comments you may make are true to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Are there any questions of the applicants or their representative, Mr. Averill, or of Mr. Tower?
John, this is for you because it's a curiosity to me. Is there any need or any concern about an archaeological condition there? And I ask this specifically because in my youth, I seem to remember from the King George face, looking at the building to the left, there was a car service there. And for some reason, I had the impression they had a pit. And that may be my mind playing games on me, but
I was always impressed by the fact that all the man who worked there did was sell gas, and 6.5 ounce Coca-Colas were stocked in the glass bottle Coca-Cola dispenser. And that's pretty much all he did. I never really saw him work on cars there. It had a sort of minimalist use.
okay, well, I'll go with I am hallucinating. I did some things probably in the 70s and 80s that didn't have.
It's okay. But
Are you sure you don't want to bring it back to a gas station to respect the history?
okay, I think we had our fun, and we are very familiar with the application. Are there any further questions, Commissioner? Is there a motion to take action on this matter?
I move to accept the application for, oh boy, probably shouldn't have taken these off. 260 King George Street in accordance with the staff report with no conditions.
Is there a second to that? Very good. All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your persistence. All right. Mr. Wilson, Mr. Fishback. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I didn't see. Well, please, we can reopen the public hearing. Is there a motion to reopen the public hearing?
I make a motion to reopen the hearing.
Okay, it's seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I apologize, sir. Please.
Good evening. My name is Craig Harrison, and I live and have lived at 264 King George Street for over 20 years. I'm also the president of the Ward 1 Residents Association on the board for 15 years and the president of it for the last 3 years. There's two comments I'd like to send in. One is from my neighbor who cannot be here tonight.
Could you state his
Christopher Lynch,
name?
And he sent this over to John, and I think you've gotten this before, John.
Yes. Could you give us his name? I think we've seen it, but would you give us that gentleman's name?
This is from Chris and Maggie Lynch. Maggie Lynch.
Thank you.
Okay, you have seen this?
No.
Okay,
We saw
I'd like to-
a comment from
Ronha and
another.
Smolsky, I think.
There you go. Smolsky was the name I was looking for. We have seen something from Mr. Smolsky.
So let me do this. I'll see if I have it in my email and I could read it.
Okay, if you'd rather do it that way.
Oh, you want to read it?
I've got it in front of me if you'd like.
go
me to
ahead.
read
Okay,
it,
Go
good.
ahead. Right.
Yes.
because I think they're valid comments in this regards. That he lives on the third house down from the proposed redevelopment. And I'd like to start his comments by complimenting the beautiful craftsmanship of the new roof for the historic building on the project site. But we have two concerns on the proposed plan for redevelopment. First, and we cannot say this strongly enough from everybody, there is no access on-street parking around this site to accommodate new customers coming to the proposed coffee shop. Residents of nearby homes and apartment buildings on and around Hanover Street more than fill the existing on-street parking spaces 24 hours a day. As residents of the same block as the coffee shop, we deal with this situation every day. There is no access availability at all. And right now, the Naval Academy has torn down, they are tearing down the wall on Wagner Street down to Hanover. And all the parking along there has been dismissed. There's no parking at all, and halfway up on Hanover Street. So therefore, people have to go down to 9-hour parking in order to be able to park at all. So it's 200 yards away. By not having parking on this site, they're going to put up planters now. So the 4 parking spaces that are there, you cannot go ahead, and the people are going to have to go and use our parking that we have. So why the planters are there, we just don't understand it. And they want to put up two top tables and take up that entire parking space. And so therefore, we're going to be penalized. The people next to it are going to be penalized. The second thing is they've had a dumpster there for almost 2+ years. Because of that, I've had to get sent to the emergency room because I was almost hit by a car. And that's happened more than once. The applicant stated previously that to alleviate the monotony of the existing parking area, which is an eyesore for the neighborhood. I have canvassed every neighbor, and there's no eyesore there. They also state that patrons are encouraged to utilize existing on-street parking. Again, there is no parking there. We're just backed up throughout. In the proposed walk-through service area and two top tables for outdoor dining, I don't know if that's consistent with section C2A as far as outdoor dining. I don't know if that's been approved yet or not, but it's unacceptable for the neighborhood. We've got people who have been there for 20 years, and suddenly people are going to be coming up and taking over parking spaces and creating some noise. And the dumpster that's there, Bohan Construction, they've been dumping materials at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the people who live next door with a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old, that's waking them up. And there's no need for that. So something really has to be done about that.
Could I ask you a question right now? The matter with the dumpster, the city has noise laws, rules and regulations about when construction can be done, this sort of thing, businesses can operate. They are not in any way the purview of the HPC. We have no authority, but there are city agencies that do. Have you and the neighbors availed yourself of those avenues?
Yes, we've made a lot of different comments, but it hasn't gone anywhere. I'm just bringing this to the attention. Overall with HPC.
Yeah, but we have no authority to use that as a part of our decision.
I appreciate that. So that's, and to continue at the very ending here, as a final thought, fencing of the entire site with giant billboards for months old before even proposed plan for development is unapprovable. That's a lot of unacceptable. So we'd like you to consider not putting up those planters and having people park in there. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just reiterate, though, that parking, and we know how bad, we all live here in Annapolis, how bad parking is throughout Ward 1 in the downtown area. But again, we don't even have the authority to review it. We can't even ask them legally how many parking spaces you're going to provide because we have no authority to regulate that.
But as far as the planters go, do you have authority on that?
Yes, we do, but the staff has clearly stated that they see no problem with that. And am I stretching that too far, John?
Well, they're a common feature for outdoor dining in the city.
Yeah.
And they're approved by our revised sidewalk, cafe, and outdoor dining guidelines. So it would be up to the owners and the applicants as to how they put them in place.
Thank you, John.
Because it is approved. I have recommended approval.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing your concerns to us. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this matter? No? Okay. I will again close the public hearing on this application. And I guess we should really revote. Should we revote? Yes. Okay. Having heard the additional testimony and questions and the responses from the staff, is there a motion on this matter?
Yes, appreciate the additional information that was provided by the additional testimony. However, I move that we approve the application as provided for 260 King George Street with the staff report recommendation.
Yeah.
Second.
Before I call for a vote, I would just say that I'm very sympathetic to the gentleman's concerns and the issues that his comments raised. And I wish we had some authority, but we don't. So it boils down to what seems to be a very straightforward matter. And if anybody else wants to add a little comment before we call the question.
Because the motion is
Okay.
we can't.
Pardon? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right. Mary?
Would it yeah. It is.
You're
We
right.
have to vote.
Roberts.
Yep.
Roberts, thank you.
That's- well,
Okay, we can't have further discussion.
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion that's been made and seconded? signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. My mistake.
No worries.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
If a comment may be made to the general public, hopefully moving this forward, we'll get rid of the fencing and the dumpster and whatnot to alleviate those concerns.
Yeah.
And that they'll make good coffee.
Well, I think probably that's not going to help.
I love coffee, and I'll say for the record that as much as I love coffee, I'm not going to drive from Hunt Meadow to this spot and
No.
try and buy a cup of coffee. I hope it's the
But you
neighbors.
don't know how good it's going to be.
No.
I would get somebody to live in the neighborhood and get it for me, if I could. Anyway.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
No.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, you know the drill. Right hands up. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of knowledge?
I do.
Thank you, gentlemen. Go ahead.
Introduce yourself. Good evening. My name is Cody Monroe. I'm the project applicant for 28 College
We already
Avenue.
had that written. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. For the record. For the record, please.
My name's Leo Wilson. I'm the project architect from Hammond Wilson Architects.
Andrew Fishback with Hammond Wilson Architects.
So this is an interesting project in that we've been here a few times to talk to you about it. And the last time we were here to talk to you, we received approval for the majority of the proposed adjustments to the existing structure. And so during those discussions, John Tower suggested to us some things we might do differently to go to the next level with this project. And so we took them to heart and worked with Cody on what we wanted to do. And so we're here to show you what that looks like. So project site, you're all familiar with it, directly adjacent to the prior application. There's the house as it sits today, existing photographs. All of this is stuff that you've seen before. Window patterns, the side elevations, all similar with the exception of the adjustment to the third floor. And during the prior discussions, you may recall that we had shown an open deck up there. And the concern was the outdoor space could be problematic and wasn't in keeping with some of the design guidelines. So we went back and looked at it and researched what we see elsewhere in the district, and also looked to see if there was a way to incorporate the ideas that we talked through with John, and sure enough, there was. And so you can see, if you look at the top drawing on the left, you can see the addition, which is bound by the dotted line there. And so that provides additional space up on that third floor. We initially had windows there. However, during the discussions with the city, the building plans reviewer, Ryan, reminded us that if you're within 3 feet of the property line, windows are a problem. So, so that side, for the uses intended on the interior, it worked for us to just do a panel assembly there and leave the wall without any fenestration. Then if we go to the other side, which is down below, we were able to shift the plane of that wall back to just over 3 feet, where we can in fact get the windows to work. So all of that worked pretty well from our standpoint, and we were real happy with how it was coming together. So let's look at the back elevation too, Andrew. So here you can see it's a fairly modest intervention here. We followed the guidelines to change the material so it didn't look like it was part of the initial build. the window patterns are consistent with the window patterns we would find elsewhere, both on the structure and in the neighboring builds that we saw. And so what we end up with is a far more useful space of the area above that second floor than what we initially planned. And so we're real happy and appreciative of the comments, and we think we've got it pretty well worked out. There was one other comment that came up during the review I just wanted to bring attention to, and it shows up in the conditions, which John can talk about in just a moment. But one of the things that the plans reviewer, Mr. Bromley, brought to our attention is that there are limitations to how much window can go on some of these things. And so the recommendation that John had said is that the windows should be removed on the side, and I'm paraphrasing, he can clarify this. And what we're asking is to adjust that comment to say, because the code says I can leave the existing windows, I'm allowed to leave the ones I have, I just can't add new ones. So what we'd like to have the comment amended to is say, rather than no windows, it could say no new windows. And that was an ask. We sent it over to John late today, but it was, we saw the comments and said, oh, this is an idea after talking with the owner. So we'd like to suggest that that be considered as a condition rather. It's just a modest change to the wording, but it does mean something to us to be able to leave those existing windows. I don't think I've missed anything here. Can you think of anything else we need to talk about? Sure.
Yeah, just some quick clarification on the last part that Leo was saying. So the whole idea behind when you're within 3 feet of your neighbor's property not to add additional fenestrations is to not increase the fire hazard of the property. And so the building code allows for, the way we read it, quite a lot of gray area that affords local plans reviewers the ability to make judgment calls about whether changes to buildings do in fact increase the hazard, the fire hazard, as it relates to neighboring properties. And so on the lower left image there, what we're sort of proposing is that the kind of lower middle window has hashes around it, that window potentially remain in place and just have a firewall placed behind it, maintain the historic character of the building while reducing the fire hazard, and then a window at the very top of the same or reduced size be introduced in that location. Thereby, the fire hazard of the building is either the same or less than it was before, especially because the building on this side of the structure, which is the little flower shop, is only 1 story anyway. So actually moving the fenestration to be at the top of the building would reduce the fire hazard. So we wanted to adjust the language to say no new windows that cannot be approved by the building department, basically. That
John,
right?
You want to respond to that?
It allows us to have the conversation.
Well, I wasn't a proponent of your third floor gable end window, but I think that was approved in the last meeting, and this is tricky, but it's really not to me. This is much more of a code review. I think you've done a really good job with the design. I think it's sympathetic. It's actually hard to see that it is stepped back, but it is stepped back. It's subordinate. It checks a lot of boxes. So I'll work with you on it, and we'll adjust the windows administratively. Really, that was what the purpose of the condition was, and then the other portion was the HVAC.
Right,
So-
the ability to service those, which we're happy to comply with.
So these do not constitute changes from what we reviewed substantial enough to make us delay again.
Well, that was the purpose of the condition. That
Okay, so-
I really wanted to move this forward. We're pushing this little birdie out of the nest, I hope.
Yes.
And it's
That's
time
why
for
I
it to
just wanna be
fly,
sure that
and
we're
we'll
on solid ground
adjust
doing
as we need to, without introducing new elements of design.
Good. Just one quick question that really isn't too germane. to our approval. I'm curious, what's the additional square footage of interior space that you're gaining?
Oh, gosh, what do you think that is?
You can ballpark it. I don't need to know down 200 square feet.
Yeah,
200?
about probably a little less than 200, right in that area.
Sounds like a win-win to me.
We think so.
Okay. Any
You know,
other
I don't
questions?
I don't like to not get my way when I come here, but last time when I didn't
no,
get my way,
no. You're so
I
compliant.
this,
Yeah,
this
you're really so
sometime-
compliant.
Sometimes it works out for the best.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions for the applicant? John, did you want to add anything?
I just want to say we've been working on this for a long time. I think that we have come to a good conclusion. It's amazing to think that 28 College Avenue and 260 King George Street could be approved both in a single night.
We've invested a lot of hard work, so it's really not like it's sudden.
Well,
Right?
this isn't sudden, but there's a lot of compliance with guidelines. There's correct differentiation of materials. There's appropriate setback. There's appropriate subordination. This is a really good addition, and frankly, I think it looks good too.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Tower? Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak to this issue, this application? If not, I'll close the public hearing this time. Oh, okay.
You gotta turn your mic on.
I'd like to be in that master bedroom. That's with that porch. It's stunning. But the back stoop, I just find it a safety hazard when you have 3 or 4 steps going right up to a door. If there's a landing there, it lets you negotiate the doorway a little more graciously, so that whether there's a key or whatever, you're carrying something. I'd love a 3 or 4 foot stoop, but that's a minor. Couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Eric, I want to clarify. I think that's the smallest backyard in Annapolis.
All the more reason.
Yeah, we've done them before where it's not the full 3 feet, but even 2 is a big help. And so we'll work through that with plans reviewer Blomley and see if that's something that we could accommodate within the other limitations on the property. But it's a good idea. Thank you.
Mr. Cummings, you look like you wanted to.
I was just going to say, with respect to application MB2, 28 College Avenue, I move to approve as applied with the condition that they can keep the existing windows as long as they don't add any new windows, with the exception of the potential for those new windows to be approved by the building department.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be looking for the invitations to the housewarming party.
Great. Thanks again. Appreciate your time.
All right. Let's see. I don't see any other items on the
It's
agenda.
247 withdrew.
Yes. Yes, they did. Is there any other business, John?
Well, there's just a couple of things. 247 King George Street is slated to come to our next public hearing. That is what we're hoping for. We want to get through all of the reviews and release the staff report and look at that. So you all will be reviewing Ogle Hall in
Ogle Hall.
October.
Right.
October 14th.
October 14th. Now, I have one application currently for October 14th. Your old business, you would come before that. And that, again, is for 172 Green Street for a large freestanding structure in the back at Green Street. But there are at least 2 people who are saying that they want to come to our administrative meeting later this month, which of course is remote. So just
On what topics?
well, I think one might be showing 172 Green Street's additional construction, and then another one is about a sign, and it is a sign for a designer who has a shop on Maryland Avenue and would like to have a backlit sign, which isn't allowed by our code. I have to say, from a design standpoint, it's really good. There is, I didn't mention one of the violations is there's a backlit sign that's unapproved on Main Street that we have to deal with, and that person used that as an example. Well, there's one on Main Street. I was like,
Okay,
there
so
is.
this person that wants a backlit sign that's not permitted by our code, why are we allowing them to come and present it to us?
Well, I've been going back and forth with the applicant for over a year. It's just something to consider. I don't think she'll take too much time.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Are you able to? No.
What is the address? I'll put it this way. It's a subterranean pizza restaurant.
Oh.
Well, no, I didn't say it.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's not backlit.
Yeah, well, it looks frankly,
Never noticed.
at some point we may want to consider changes if we're interested. It's just like, how our guidelines evolve. And
Maybe neon.
they should evolve. What?
Neon, maybe
neon.
flashing. Yeah, flashing neon.
The
Electronic billboards.
One of those
see,
banners.
so when I was a boy,
movie.
Oh yeah.
there was neon all over Maryland Avenue.
We're supposed to shake things up, right? Or there you go. There's historical significance.
Well, true.
Okay. Well, it's good to have a little levity, not be serious all the time.
Oh, where Ka-Chunk was, right?
Yeah. Eric?
Can we make it mandatory that presenters have a visual for the screen? Because I know whether they submit them ahead of time, but to hear the presenters with a visual is essential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, we can.
Okay.
But I allowed that to go forward because we'd seen it so many times, and I thought our question showed that we understood what it was we were talking about. But you're right. Please, John. Okay.
Oh, there's one last thing.
Okay.
So the way in which 260 King George Street was approached by working with the reviewers to see if there were, if a review comment could be addressed in such a way to allow these applications to move forward. That is a goal.
Yeah.
That's a goal within HPC staff, and it's a goal within planning and zoning to try to move these forward rather than, let's say, not have us review, for instance, 28 College Avenue because the fenestration didn't meet code, but it could be adjusted. So it's important. It's important that it be in the ballpark. But if there's an adjustment possible, then we can condition it, which is what we did tonight. So
in other words, to use the existing rules and regulations constructively to move forward,
right?
Not to ignore them or skate over them. The rules. All right, very good. Is there anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, thank you. Meeting adjourned.